Making this game is difficult. I'm running out of ideas. My brain is functioning on one hamster. I keep imagining cute girls. I need to go to Japan. The currency exchange rate for yen is ridiculously cheap. Tickets to fly to Japan is cheap. Hotels are cheap. This is a sign. I'm going to Japan to get inspiration for my game because I'm so desperately in need of it. You don't understand how stuck I've been. This cat expresses my full emotion. This is my game. It's called A Journey's End, and it's about a boy that's forced to work in a bathhouse full of spirits. It may not look good right now because the game is still in development, so don't judge the game so harshly. And it's very much inspired by Spirited Away. Go wishlist this on Steam and follow the Kickstarter. I'm having a hard time developing this game. It's so hard to build this bathhouse when you don't have any understanding of Japanese culture. I mean, I could just rip it off from Spirited Away one-to-one, but there's no uniqueness in it. And as a non-Japanese person trying to make a Japanese movie-inspired game, you can see why I'm struggling so much to make this Japanese-themed game. So I have a solution that will take care of all of this problem. I'm going to go to Japan to get inspiration for my game. Great plan, right? You may be wondering, is this plan really going to work? Is it really going to benefit the game? And is it really for research purposes and not just because I want to go to Japan? The answer is, have you heard of Nikko? Nikko is located just north of Tokyo, and Nikko is famous for its popular shrine, the Toshugu Shrine. I think that's what it's called. It's lavished with an enormous amount of gold leaves to decorate the building, and it's been there since 1617, a very great place to get inspiration. In fact, I never knew that Japanese building could be decorated with gold leaves. That's such a huge key feature in designing this bathhouse, and looking at the shrine, it's aesthetically complex. I'm already imagining a decorated room filled with these gold leaves and a spirit just drinking its tea alone, and then it looks at you with a creepy face, thinking you're its next easy meal. You may be wondering, why am I talking about all of this? Patience, you'll understand soon. Let me talk to you about Hiroshima. Just an hour south, there's this famous torii gate on Miyajima Island. This torii gate is so important in Japanese culture that it's literally a gateway to the spirit realm, which is so incredibly important for my game because at the beginning of my game, there's immediately a torii gate that's taking you to the spirit realm. And then some type of spirits comes out of this torii gate and eats you and takes you to the bathhouse. Ooh. Do you know what a yatai is? It is a food cart where an owner cooks the food and you sit down and you eat. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a yatai in my game where the spirits is just cooking stuff up and you sit down and eat and possibly you're eating a dead spirit, which you didn't know? Chiba has these crazy trains where it's upside down, and you know what would be cool? If the bathhouse was so big that in order to move from one area to the next, you need to take a train. How crazy and unique of an idea is that? And then in this train, there's a spirit that's just staring at you, and it just wants to eat you. Osaka has this castle that looks cool and old. Maybe I could have a samurai spirit that's just standing in the hallway, pretending to be fake. And after you pass by it, it slices you in half. And the onsens in Japan, that's another big research I must undertake. I need to take baths there, eat the food, take pictures of old wooden structures. Maybe I can have like a spirit where it just drags you underwater if you take a bath too long. And it eats you up and then there's just like blood coming out of the water. And food. Everyone knows ramen. It's delicious and savory. And sushi. Everyone knows sushi. But what the heck is this food? It looks very much like what a spirit would eat. I think it's important to study food as well. The more bizarre and weird the food, the more fitting that a spirit would eat this. like this weird food. You know, there's a bullet sushi train where the sushi just comes to you on a conveyor belt. What if, instead of sushi, it's just a dead spirit, and you're supposed to eat this to please a spirit guest, and this guest gets bored so easily that if you don't entertain the spirit, he'll look at you as his next sushi meal. Have you heard of Kanto Matsuri? It's a pole lantern festival where they have dozens of lanterns attached to a pole, and you watch the performers display their skill in keeping the lantern up. You can hear the beat of the drums, the flutes, the onlookers chanting "Dokoisho, Dokoisho," which means heave ho, heave ho. And at the end of the festival, you can try your own skill in heaving the lantern pole up. This is giving me such a great idea. Why stop at only baths when I can have festivals in my game? And the main character can perform in these festivals, like holding the lantern up, and if you drop it and hit the spirits, then you'll upset the spirits around you, and suddenly you're food to them. Remember the point I was trying to make, but I told you to be patient? The point I'm trying to make is, the more influenced I am going to Japan and experiencing its culture, the more creative and interesting ideas I get. And these ideas I showed you are pretty great, right? Having culture in this game is incredibly important as it builds the game's depth. And with Japanese culture in the video game, I could build the lore. And everyone loves lore in video games. And everyone loves Japan too. There's a lot more ideas I can draw from if I were to go to Japan than just to read it online and look at the pictures. The most important thing that I need from this trip is culture. Because if I don't have the culture down for this game, then it would be flat like the earth. The game would lack depth. It wouldn't be interesting, and most importantly, it'll be culturally confusing and half-assed if I didn't have any Japanese theme in it, especially when I'm making an inspired Spirited Away game. If you're still wondering if this plan is really going to work, that going to Japan would benefit my game, you better believe it. All of this research will elevate the game to a new level of wow. And I'll call this plan the Great Japan Trip, because I'll be jumping from Tokyo to Nikko to Osaka and then to Hiroshima all in October, and possibly more cities if I can get a bigger budget for this trip. I'll be blogging, doing YouTube, taking lots of pictures, and dissecting every part of my trip just to build the game's culture. So I better brush up on my Japanese because I heard there's no English in the countryside, and that's where all the onsens are. Oh, and buy Harvest Island. It's a fantastic and unique horror farming game. It's very much worth a try, and it's one of a kind. It'll help support the development and the game's research trip. And be sure to leave a review as well, that helps a lot. And if you don't play as much games, you can always support me through PayPal. Make sure you wishlist the Journey's End and follow the Kickstarter.